So JJ, man, thank you for being here. To the show and having a nice chat with you. It's like young talent, young UK drummer of the year in 2018. You know,
Yeah,
uh, and been doing this for a long time. You've been doing this since you were a kid. You were born with the sticks already out.
yeah. No, I started playing. Well, I started hitting my dad's head when I was kind of like one and a half, two, and then yeah, I kind of pretty quickly ended up picking up a pair of sticks and got the hang of it basically.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I started really early, which probably helps because um, when you're in an environment from young, you kind of soak in things quicker, um, and you pick up kind of little tricks and stuff quite early. So yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
How was let's I don't want to interrupt you. Let's start a little bit, give a bit of a insights into your how what was your inspirations. Did your obviously family listen to a lot of music?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. So I come from like a gospel background. My mum's a singer. Like a lot of my extended family play either drums or keys. So I've always been around music, whether that's listening to music, watching people play, or even playing myself. So that probably helped a massive amount. Plus, I actually just enjoyed it. Like I always could just listen to something and I'd always be tapping along. Um, and then slowly you just kind of progress through the stages of just hitting things to actually understand a little bit of music. Um, when I joined elementary school, I was kind of like I was in the orchestras and stuff. Um, so that helps you to get a little bit of a gauge of different types of styles because orchestral classical music obviously is a lot different to gospel to jazz to hip hop to Latin. Um, but yeah, it was probably a good start for me to be honest. Like I really cherish the fact that I've got the opportunity to play different things quite early because you spread yourself out and you get the chance to explore what you liked. And to be honest, I ended up liking most things. I don't do as much orchestra things now that I've left high school, but yeah, I loved it. And probably being around the family is probably the main reason why um, music was so constant.
yeah,
I mean,
so basically you said you didn't have any favorite, just like to put
yeah,
rhythm into stuff, anything
yeah.
that
I
you
mean,
hear.
no, that was what it was like at the beginning because it was just I was free with it, and then as I got older, um, like even if you're talking about now, most of the stuff I play is like a lot of jazz, a lot of hip hop is probably where I feel is like my favorite genre to play. Just because I have freedom to do a lot of things when I'm playing drums in particular. Um, so if I was to say I have a favorite, yeah, it'll probably be jazz or hip hop, but um, I enjoy playing everything because I get into like a different headspace. Um, and I just kind of like not being in the comfort zone all the time when I'm playing. Um, it's uh, it's like a challenge. I like the challenge basically. I don't like to always just be doing the same thing or whatever. So
Hmm.
um, it's good.
And how did you career then? How did this whole thing? Obviously, in 2018, you just got into this contest
Yeah.
and you just won that one. How did that go? Like, how was your? Did someone say you should go for it, or did you just apply and say,
Yes and no, kind of. So my godbrother actually had won it a few years back, and he's a few years older than me. And I remember I used to look up to him a lot of just musically. And it was a competition that you hear about all the time, kind of like who's the new young drummers. So I actually applied a few years before. Um, I applied one year. I did it last minute, so the entry was like really, really like rushed and
scrappy?
stuff. And yeah, super scrappy. And then I didn't even get to the top 40. It kind of goes, you get into the top 40, top 10, and then there's the final. Um, so I didn't get into that. The year after I got in and went top 10, which was great. Didn't win it that year, but it wasn't really for me, it was never really a competition where like um, for example, in sports, you have like ultra competitiveness. Like for me, it wasn't just about like winning a competition. I actually just enjoyed the fact that I was able to play in front of a crowd, in front of like other drummers, because you kind of put your name out there anyway. And then the year after, um, I went back, which was 2018, and won it, thankfully. And that was a really good experience and a really good feeling. Um, but it wasn't really the be all and end all. Like, it was great winning the competition, obviously, but um, I'd kind of had the experience that I wanted to get from the competition anyway, just from being in the final. Um, and obviously, I had people around me kind of telling me, pushing me on to apply. I had my like music teachers in high school who were saying, "Yeah, go for it, go for it." And they helped with like when I was doing my video, filming it, and all these type of things. So um, yeah, there were a lot of people around me saying, go for it, but it wasn't a thing of um, I never had an aim. I need to win this competition. I just kind of entered it knowing that I can play and just seeing what happens from it. Because I know people who've gone through the competition, not won it, and still doing amazing things. So um, yeah, but it was probably a big turning point if I'm being honest, because once you win it and your name's kind of the one on that blog, on that page saying this is the winner for this year, then obviously naturally that traction comes and things happen. So
Mm.
um, yeah, it was a good event for me.
Yeah. So, like you said, it was like a trigger point because obviously, in a world, in a sea of musicians, in this case in particular, drummers, so many people and stuff. So, managing to stand out a little bit is just the edge that you need to move on with things, isn't it? In opportunities to show up and stuff.
Yeah. I feel like that is something I didn't think about on purpose though. Like I didn't want to consciously stand out. I didn't want to do something that was different to what I usually do just to stand out. Like I just always felt I wanted to be the drummer that I know I am. I wanted to just play the way I play, kind of feeling that the way I feel is unique in itself anyway. So whatever happens when I start playing, it's going to be different. And obviously, I guess that stands out. I kind of have a unique style of playing at times, depending on what it is. Like if you hear me, like I know it's me playing basically. Um, but that doesn't come from forcing anything. That's just kind of how I play. Um, and then naturally, if you've got that sound and I've been working on it for years, you stand out. Amongst a lot of people. But yeah, it's not something I consciously thought about. Like I need to stand out. I need to be different because
Mm.
I feel like I would have been kind of tripping myself up. I would have been going through motions of things that I just wouldn't usually do
Mm.
unnecessarily just for the sake of that
Mm.
competition when I wasn't, I wasn't really wired like that.
There was no goal. So, if that wouldn't happen, if you didn't, if for example, if you don't win, what would you be continually doing, or have you been doing that regardless of winning or not? Anyway.
Bits and bobs. I mean, I would still be playing. I would still be doing a lot of the like music creation I do. Like I make my own music. I would still be doing that. I'd still be kind of like going to jazz bands or jazz bands and jazz groups and just playing with them, jamming with them. Um, but a lot of the stuff I'm doing now is kind of a knock-on result of contacts I made after winning. So it's hard for me to say whether I would have been doing this exact stuff now if I didn't win because um, I don't know if I would have got those contacts other ways. I might have, and then I might still be doing the same thing, but um, I would definitely still be playing. It wasn't the kind of thing where if I didn't win, this is make or break. I'm not going to play drums anymore. But having won, yeah, you kind of make a lot of contacts, and you get kind of access to like the industry a bit more. You get a bit more of an insight to it.
Mm.
Um, but no, if I didn't win, I still would have been performing. I still would have been trying to put myself out there. Still would have been in my house playing, like because I still love it. I absolutely love it. So that wouldn't have changed whether or not I won or not.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Uh, so where you are now, regarding obviously you performing with these artists, known artists and everything. But how's your time divided now? You're because I know you also do your own thing. You want to do your own stuff. Maybe do probably I guess you're gonna let me know more collabs with hip hop artists as well on the side. It's stuff like what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, this summer especially, I've been really busy. I've been with Celeste, and that's kind of taken up a lot of my time this summer. But I'm actually still at university, so I've got a year left at uni, um, and my focus is kind of on that plus kind of doing the extra music stuff. So, um, my time balance is very like, I have to be really strict with it. Like I got to study, and then obviously I still want to play. I want to be out there as much as possible. But on the music front, yeah, I mean, the Celeste stuff's great. I'm doing my own stuff in terms of making my own music. That's kind of me because I play piano as well. So I like trying to kind of just mix in those sounds. But yeah, I'd love to collaborate with kind of the hip hop scene and jazz scene. It's kind of where I feel most comfortable at the moment. In terms of that, just that sound. Um, but I'm kind of getting there. I'm getting in the process of trying to just piece together where I really want to go. For me, the main thing at the moment is just kind of like getting my ideas on paper. Like when I get an idea, I just write it down and just like kind of park it up in a file. And that that file is building quite quickly. Um, but yeah, no, I want to do as much as I can now, like while I'm young and while I've got kind of the time to and just the energy to as well, to be honest. So yeah, I'm really enjoying how we're going at the moment. Obviously, we'll get onto the summer, but the summer's been amazing.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I
yeah,
mean, I think it's the best. It's the best. You're very conscious of that, aware, which is you're young, so you have loads of energy. Just whilst you can, like you said, if you're still studying and everything, juggle
yeah,
those things around and then move on, and you can recover quickly. Quicker and yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's talk about a little bit of your process, and then we go to the gigs. Of where your
yeah.
how do you do stuff? How do you like your ideas come from and all that? How do you organize yourself?
Are you talking about when I'm making my own music?
Yeah.
You mean? Yeah, yeah. So often I kind of just basically playing piano is kind of like my respite. It's like my recovery. And often when I'm just playing around, little ideas will just come, little sparks and stuff, and I just kind of have a method of I'm not gonna remember it, so I'll record it on a voice note or whatever, and then as soon as I get a chance, I'll put that that idea, sorry, into my software Logic and just park it up and maybe put a drum beat to it that I feel right is right at the time.
Mm,
And then often what I usually do is I leave it like kind of for a week and come back to it and then see where my headspace is at if I remember the idea, what I was feeling at that point. But most of my ideas come from when I'm playing piano, which is kind of weird obviously because everyone knows me as a drummer. But for me, I actually love sitting down at the keyboard, love kind of the ability to be in a room on my own and just
mm,
ideas flowing randomly. And sometimes things will happen in like just my day-to-day life that I might think, oh, actually, kind of, you know what, that reminds me of a song. And then because it reminds me of a song, I kind of just almost subconsciously just playing music in that kind of genre when I get back to the piano. Um, and before you know it, you kind of coming up with ideas that you would never come up with before. But I'm not like a lyricist or anything. Like I don't have a method for like writing words or anything. For me, it's just like it's a pure feel thing. And it does help that I play piano, to be honest, because I can kind of put any ideas that just spark in my head, I can play them, which really helps. And being able to kind of put that pen like thought to paper is kind of what helps me to keep creating stuff. Because otherwise I feel like sometimes I would get to a block. And I do get to blockages at times, where you just like, I can't think of anything else. And just like you just feel like your head's just not in that creative space. But
mm,
yeah, my process changes, if I'm being honest, it
yeah,
changes from time to time. But mostly I'll just sit by a piano and just spend some time there, see what comes out.
yeah. And are you one of those that you just like you mentioned, like your head is not in the space? What do you do? Do you just leave it and then go do something completely different, not related to music, or just kind of go through with it until maybe something comes out?
No, I think I've had one situation where I really, really wanted to make a piece of music and I just drove through and just kind of listened to music to get more ideas. But a lot of the time, I just kind of park it up and don't do anything musical. But I
Mm,
go out, play some football,
yeah.
watch some football. Um, I'm a big sports guy and like just doing things that are like completely not unrelated to music actually helps me sometimes. Even not even just in creating music, like in practicing. So um, obviously I love playing drums. But actually sometimes the break from playing, so if I'm not playing at all for like a few days, actually helps me a lot because when I'm not playing, like little things that come into my head and then I get back to the paper, so to say, and I'm ready to go. So I wouldn't say I kind of just put an idea there try and listen to loads of different types of music, and then get straight back to the idea and just like, try and cram it in. Um, I try and do something completely different, and the football helps me. Going out and doing something where I'm running or just like with my mates. Some of my friends aren't musicians, which kind of helps as well because I'm not always in that music intense space. I can just chat to my boys who are just into completely different things, which helps me on the creative side.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the. I mean, it's spoken, but not as much as I would like in terms of how the brain works. And for any art, any writers or anything, is like, yeah, you need that headspace. You cannot just pumping all the time because the brain also works through phases and as well in chunks of time. So you need to
Yeah,
let it breathe a little bit.
yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Hmm. So let's talk about live music, man. So what was let's talk let's talk about live music. What was
Yes, sir.
how was the beginning of that? How was when you used like your first gigs and you started to.
You know what? I didn't gig a lot during high school. I went to a school where it was pretty intense, and I didn't really get that much time even to kind of put myself out there to do a lot of live stuff. Um, then as soon as I left high school, it was COVID, so I went to uni and I was like, oh, nothing's going on.
Hmm.
And then as soon as kind of the COVID stuff started to ease a little bit, I made a point to myself that I was gonna just get out there, get into the city and just play with people I know, the connections I already had, and just find spots to play. And if you're going to talk about this summer, it actually started probably back end of last year, early this year. I was playing with Doom Cannon at Ronnie Scott's, and my good friend's Dom.
Yeah.
And he just called me up on stage to kind of played for 15, 20 minutes of drums with him. It was great fun. Like it was liberating. It's the kind of music I love. It's so much space to do loads of creative things in the music. Um, and really enjoyed it. Didn't think anything of it. But Celeste she was in the audience. She must have been at Ronnie's that night, just catching the vibe. And Dom obviously knows Celeste because he's basically our band leader, our MD.
Yeah.
Um, so went back up to uni after Christmas. Kind of just in the library studying a bit of economics. And Dom sends me a text, and he's like, "Oh, I've got a gig for you, bro." And then usually when someone says that, you kind of think, okay, cool, it's gonna be like this thing on a weekend, like just a one-off thing. And he, he sends me this long list of dates, and I kind of just like looked at my
Mm,
phone and then just put my phone down and just thought,
mm.
okay, yeah. And I have to keep composure because bearing in mind I'm in the library, like I'm just thinking, I don't even want to make a scene. I don't even. Well, what is this? Um, but anyway, it was amazing, really cool. He said, Marcel, loved your playing. Be free on these dates, and immediately I was like, yeah, I'm free. But trust me, I'm gonna get on it because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to start taking opportunities to play out, and just express myself because I hadn't been able to play, you know, for a long time through the COVID stuff. And yeah, from then we got into rehearsals early March, mid March probably I think it was, because we did it like a UK tour first earlier in the year before the summer. Um, that was great. It was kind of my first experience of meeting new band members, like meeting Cel. Cel's amazing. Like she was really welcoming when I first met her and stuff. Get on with the band really well. And it really put me at ease. I was like, okay, cool. Like I feel comfortable playing. It was the kind of thing that no, I wish for, I really, really wish for coming out of COVID to play in. And yeah, we went on to the UK tour. When I can't remember, I think we went to Birmingham first, O2 Institute, O2 Academy or something, whatever it's called up there. But yeah, it was great. My first experience again of coming out. It just felt liberating. You felt like almost like the change had come off. Like crowds are back, and I'm back on the drum kit. Um, Obviously haven't been at uni the whole time before, so um, yeah, no, it was really good fun, man.
How is the thing coping with adrenaline versus now going back to uni? It's like two different it's two different
Um,
minds in there.
yeah, look, it is two different worlds. It helps as well. Well, I say it helps. It probably pushes the worlds even further apart. The fact that I don't study music at uni. Um, so I think it's probably good for me in the same way, like I said before, where, I like going out and doing different things, and a creative that are not creative, so like football and whatever. Kind of going back to uni is a great headspace for me now, because I come from live shows and then I'm back with my high school friends and kind of just back in lectures and studying. But it's a good balance. I found the balance okay. Thankfully, to be honest, it was towards the back end of the year. So, we went on the UK tour around April. That's kind of towards the end of semester two. And then we went away for the summer. And that's obviously I'm school's out by the summer. So it hasn't been too kind of like clashing.
Mm.
If you ask some of the band though, I was like on a tour bus doing a little bit of like coursework and stuff at times. And that was a bit like mashed headspaces, because obviously you're on a tour bus with a band, but you're kind of doing your uni work.
Yeah.
But I found it really fun and I found it really cool. And it's a blessing, to be honest, that I'm able to do both right now. And I'm just trying to basically fit as much in as I can. I don't know, I just want to push myself to do as much as I can now. Like I said earlier, while I've got energy. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. I mean, regarding we're talking about COVID a bit, not the COVID itself, but the environment, the whole thing that transformed the whole thing, and social media, and how you deal with things as an artist, as a solo artist. How do you deal with this, and like posting stuff online and doing this kind of juggling? How do you deal with that?
I think my situation is probably a bit different to a lot of people. But for the majority of people, I reckon it was a bit disheartening, because you kind of got loads of ideas that you want to put out to the world and then you can't. And then you're stuck in your house and you want to produce content, but you almost are like brain blocked to produce so much content because you're always in the same place and whatever. Thankfully, I've got a space in my house where I can play, I can record loads of different things. And that probably helps me because, like, the ease of access to go and just play and record things. I wasn't really a big social media guy, if I'm being honest, like in music, like beforehand, because like I didn't really feel I needed to be. I kind of just, people who knew me knew I could play drums, and that was it. I knew I could play drums, that was it. But yeah, I think that's the COVID probably started a lot more like putting videos out, and being creative in a different way. So being creative in the kind of videos you want to make, the kind of songs you want to play to, the kind of music you want to make at home. So it's just a different environment. Yes, it's very intense. I know a lot of people who found it really like almost suffocating, basically.
Yeah.
But thankfully for me, I had loads of people that I was always on the phone to. Like, it helps that my family are musicians, so if I really wanted to, me and my younger brother would just do something musical together, which kept me ticking basically with other people. And yeah, like you said, we've got recording and juggling, posting social media stuff. Thankfully, thank God, it was pretty easy for me to do that, because I could play at home. I had a recording set up, like I can record my drums from home. And I was able to also, just like because of that, record with other people. So I got friends who, like, they could maybe record some stuff at their house. I record a bit at my house, and we just kind of just have fun making little, arrangements together. So it helps. Or I say it helps. It helped in some ways. Obviously, it was pretty difficult in others, but I'm glad we're out on the other side, because I love, I love performing. I love performing.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing. It's like the other way is distributing, and there are other ways of us getting out and not being taken by the rabbit hole of social media, which takes a toll on your mental health. And how did you cope? How did you cope with that in terms of that? Did you got yourself taken?
Mentally?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think to be honest, I've been I was pretty mentally sound. When COVID hit and I knew I was going to be at home, or at least just not out and about. I get on really well with my family, get on really well with my younger brother, which helps. Can play football at the house if I want to. So I had loads of things to do, which allows me to kind of take my mind off just doing nothing. I don't like doing nothing. I always like being busy. And I think if I had to be doing nothing throughout the COVID, then it probably would have been a lot harder for me. But thankfully, kept in touch with all my mates as much as I could. and I've got a great support network around me. So um, the, the COVID wasn't actually that mentally challenging as much as it was just frustrating. To be honest, I was never um, kind of like really down for long periods of time. It's just like I just want to go out and like meet my friends when obviously when it was at the height of it. Um, but I got through it pretty well. And it probably did me some good as well. You kind of get a chance to reset, almost kind of like the fact you couldn't do nothing, the fact you couldn't do anything, sorry, gave you the ability to use that nothing time and kind of reset, kind of plan things that you kind of you want to do that you've never done. I was reading a lot. I was kind of running a lot. I was, just writing bits of music. And it actually helped because I was at school and like I said, when COVID started, I was at school and obviously it's really busy and then you got a load of free time basically.
Yeah.
It did me well. So I guess yeah, it was a blessing for me because I came out really well from it all. And like my mental health was great to be honest, like the whole way through. So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
It's nice. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It depends on your environment and or
Yeah.
first your mind. How is your mind? First of all, as an
Mm.
individual, and then the environment, people, and all that, the support and all that is really important.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I'm grateful that I had some great people around me. My parents were really great as well because um like I said, they're into music and I can also talk to them about other things if I want to. My younger brother is into music, but again, he's got other things about him. So yeah, but like I said, I'm happy we're out on the other side, bro.
Yeah.
Like, this is much better.
Yeah. Okay, so what plans now do you have just about coming up, or things about projects and collabs? Do you have anything in the pipeline, or?
I don't have that much in the pipeline other than kind of like I'm working a lot on my own music, working a lot on like myself, actually musical technical ability, because I feel like there's actually I've started to put an emphasis on that recently, practicing kind of just being the best technically as I can. Um, but I just want to keep performing, man. Like I've this summer has been great because we did some great festivals. We did Primavera, we did Glastonbury, we did Nos Alive in Lisbon, all of these shows. And once you get out there on stage and kind of there's thousands of people getting a buzz from your playing, because obviously if I play drums and if they're dancing to a beat, I'm playing a beat. And that's a kind of a weird feeling to kind of look at, but still be concentrated playing.
Hmm.
Um, so I'd love to do more of that. I want to go out and perform. We got a few more shows with Cell coming up, I think, which should be really good fun. But yeah, my main thing is carrying on with the music I'm working on at the moment. You know.
Yeah, cool. Nice one. So obviously, if you just now obviously focus in your technique, focus in your live performances, and then eventually maybe and naturally you will release something of your own, I guess.
Yeah, I hope to. I hope to. I had a project out I put out a couple of years ago. That's on Spotify, but I put it out because it was kind of like an extra academic subject in high school. We did 3 A levels, and then it's called an EPQ. It's like an extended project. And I'd written the song years ago, put it out there after writing some lyrics and whatever with one of my friends. Put it out there, and it's still out there now. But I've got a new sound. I feel like I'm creating. I've got a new kind of feel that I'm. It's kind of brimming. It's on the horizon, so to say. Um, so yeah, that'll probably be the next thing that I want to look to get some demos through and kind of keep it pressing to the point that it comes out because I feel like I've got a load of music, a big catalog of music that I want people to hear, but I want people to hear it at the right time
Mm.
and when I know it's ready. So it's a process that takes a lot longer than some people think. Well, in my head anyway, because of the type of music I play, it's very um it's based on your feel. It's very I wouldn't say experimental, but it's kind of rigid with a bit of space, and that space needs to be filled correctly. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. Like I can do it from home. I'm gonna get into the studio hopefully soon and just kind of keep pushing it out. And I got some great friends that will probably help me um along
Yeah.
the way. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean exactly what when I spoke with Dominic with Dom Cannon,
yeah,
he exactly the same. When he finally released his obviously the album that he has now,
amazing.
uh, that's what he said. He said about regarding that that space and let it sit in there for a while, and then when you feel you can release it, release it, and that's it.
Yeah, he's very much like that. He's very, he's very good with feeling the right time to do things. And his music is amazing. I suggest anyone you got to listen to that because
Yeah,
when I first heard that album, it was amazing. I know a lot of the guys on the record as well, and amazing musicians, man, proper stuff. So
yeah, yeah.
Doom
First
Cannon, man,
class.
proper.
Proper one. I mean, you're getting there as well in the same category. You know, it's like you're
I'm
working the
just
mindset, the skill set,
trying, man.
and the heart. The heart and the soul is the most important thing as well. These things.
Yeah, I always feel like as long as you're enjoying what you're doing, it's easy to keep replenishing yourself with new ideas. Easy to kind of stay on the game with creating new stuff. And
Hmm.
yeah, I feel like I'm in a great headspace to do that now. Like obviously it's been my first summer out playing in front of people, like I said.
Hmm.
Um, and I just almost feel just shoulders a little bit bigger. Like, yeah, I'm ready to kind of start showing people a bit of my stuff and like see how it goes, basically.
Exactly.
Yes,
Cool,
sir.
JJ. So where
Thanks,
people
man.
can find you apart from Instagram? Where they can find you?
Instagram's probably the main thing. I mean, I got Twitter, but I use Twitter like just to talk about football, basically.
Lovely.
Um,
So JJ Wallace on Instagram,
yeah,
uh,
man.
or any kind of email people want to hit you up or anything. You don't use that stuff.
I think there should be a link. I'm gonna put it in my Instagram shortly, but there'll be a link to like my Instagram, my emails, on some of my I'm with Vic Firth and Zildjian and Natal as my kind of drum endorsees at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm on their websites and stuff, and I'm gonna probably start putting out a couple of YouTube videos and drum covers as
Nice.
the year goes on, basically. So
Nice. Nice. Nice,
yes,
bro.
sir.
Cool.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for chatting, man, and really nice to know a bit deeper about your fresh career. But you get I mean, yeah, it's through
Yeah.
Dom Cannon. I got to see your stuff, and I said, this guy, you have it. It's like
Thank you, man.
you have it.
No, I really appreciate that. Yeah, that means a lot. Yeah, thank you. I don't really think about it. So,
Yeah, of course
uh,
not. Of course not. Of
thanks,
course, you
man.
just do your thing, and that's it. Which is
Yeah.
the main thing. Which is
Mm.
when that happens, only other people can see that
Yeah. No, I'm with you,
from a
man.
different perspective.
Yes, sir. Thanks, man.
Cool,
Appreciate
man.
it.